This is Julie.
Hey, calendar, what's my morning like?
Julie's about to have a long day.
At 9 a.m., soccer carpool. 9:10, purchase birthday card. 9:05, dry cleaning.
Did you just go backwards?
I'm sorry, I can't fit that question into your schedule. 9:15, cry for a little bit.
For days that won't end, let Schwann's help. With Schwann's, you can get delicious meals that go from freezer to table in minutes, not hours. Ordered, delivered, done. That's homemade easy. Visit today at schwanns.com. After a long day of being pulled in every direction, the last thing anyone wants to think about is, what's for dinner? That's where Schwann's can help, with a variety of real food choices, frozen to lock in freshness. From ready-made meals, premium meats and side dishes, to vegetables, ice cream, and more. Schwann's foods go from freezer to table in minutes, not hours, so you can pull off a delicious meal in no time at all. Ordered, delivered, done. That's homemade easy. To help simplify mealtime, visit schwanns.com.
Okay, this is Jim the Keys bartender coming to you for episode 184.
184.
It's fucking hot.
It's fucking hot.
It's fucking hot. We're going to put effing on there.
This is Africa hot.
It is. It's becalmed. It's a mirror on the canal here.
There's no wind. There's no breeze.
It's the temperature isn't
Jim is
like
moist.
Arizona thing. Yeah, you know what? It's just very humid. It's I'm surprised that all the metal isn't just materializing into rust, and then get flop sweat and all that stuff. I used to work in Tampa unloading fruit trucks when I was a kid, and this is about as hot as that is at this time with the sun going down.
Yeah,
it's beautiful here. You just got to acclimate yourself to this stuff.
You gotta get wet is what you got to do. You got to jump in the water.
We're acclimated to it. We can handle it. We just realize we know it's hot. We know when people come down here, they know it's hot. We noticed that people driving down here.
That's why they rent convertibles.
They're driving their goddamn convertibles with the top down.
Yes, sweating.
Top down was sweating, with the bald heads. Basting in the sun, getting burnt before they get to their destination. Look, how do I get a sun and wind burn with little effort? Well, drive down the Keys.
Yes, in a convertible.
On a blindingly sunny day with the top down. Yes. And you'll look like a fucking, one of those red domed lights on going down on a police car going down, just all red.
Just red. What's funny is that you can tell that the locals, a lot of the locals drive white cars.
Get burnt. Some of the locals get burnt.
White cars.
Yeah.
Well, you can always tell a local here because you get the sunglasses tan, like the raccoon face, like reverse raccoon.
I know that looks.
Yeah, but especially the fishermen, the charter captains and stuff like that.
I know guys that they wear the face mask and stuff like that.
Yeah, my husband has to do that.
And they don't get all burned up and stuff like that. They're smart.
Yeah, my husband has to do that because he's a white guy with blonde hair.
You know what? That's going to be payback in the back. But it is so freaking hot. But there are still people that run in this stuff. Hey, they run in Africa. They run in Africa.
They're running in Africa.
They run in Asia.
Yeah.
They're running there. That's hot.
It's too hot to run right now.
We're in that community of nations, or areas of the world where it just gets hot. I mean, there's other places. There are places in Iran, I think, in Saudi Arabia, it gets up to 130 degrees.
Yeah.
130. I don't care, dry heat or wet heat. That is incredible.
It's shocking when you take a breath in when you go to something like that. And you're like, and it's hot, just hot
air. It's
air.
laying a freshly baked pizza on your face.
Or you know what? It's like this. People that wear glasses, like me, I wear glasses. Yeah. When you open the oven.
Yeah. Oh.
Right.
And they fog up.
They fog up and you can't breathe because you're like,
you
that
suck
was
it
hot.
in, it goes right in there.
Yeah.
500 degrees.
Yep.
In there.
That's what it's like right now.
Yep.
It's hot.
Yeah, they go. You see all the air conditioners going. They don't go outside. And here we are outside.
Here we are outside.
You know what? There's nothing better.
I like to be outside.
I think we get the better Keys vibe out here.
Yeah, you got to be a little sweaty.
Yeah, you got to be able to take it. AC wasn't invented until I think it was the 20s. You don't need to Google it.
I know, but usually
I think it was really early.
The fact checker.
I know. You want to check it? Check it.
I do
Check it.
remember
It was like New
watching
York or something like that.
Gatsby and seeing that they would take like a block of ice with a fan by it, and like just
Well, the Egyptians used to. You know what the Egyptians did? You take a reed drape, and you wet it, and you put it in your window. And when it works, it only works when you have a low humidity. And the act of the wind blowing through and the water evaporating is a coolant process. And it actually cools it by more than several degrees, upwards of 10 degrees. The evaporation process of water when it's dry causes...
It was 1902.
See?
In 1902, a 25-year-old engineer from New York named Willis Carrier invented the first modern air conditioning. Willis Carrier.
Yeah, the Carrier.
The Carrier ACs, yep. But he also makes furnaces. I know that Carrier makes furnaces too. And
They really blow.
It sent air through water-cooled coils,
Yep.
which was not aimed at human comfort, however. It was designed to control humidity in a printing plant where he worked.
Which they found applicable, and within a couple of years, the first places they started applying that to was the theaters. Once they get cinemas, especially on a hot day, you could charge. Not only do you get people to come and see a movie,
that's air conditioned.
It's 85 degrees outside, and you get them walking. You someplace in South Florida here, and are you kidding me? And there's not experience in 1930. Go to an air-conditioned room.
That's so cool.
I mean, the height of luxury.
I mean, thanks, Willis. That was really awesome of you. Like, we all appreciate your AC. Like, it's pretty cool.
Well, someday we'll be able to. Someday they'll be able to move the Earth further away from the sun.
It actually says here that it wasn't until 1970 that air conditioning units actually made it into most American homes.
Yeah, that's right. I'm telling. Let me.
Give me a little history, a little background there.
I lived in Philadelphia, and it was 1974, 75. I lived in Mayfair, Northeast Philadelphia, in the row home. And we described the histories of row home in episode 178, shotgun houses. Yeah. And we did not have an air conditioner. We had fans. It was okay. In the 75, it didn't say make it in most homes. Some places we were lower middle class. We were lower middle class, and then when we moved back to the father at some of the military housing, they had the AC, and then AC units started showing up. And you had your basement, the basements that were below ground that were always a little cooler.
But they were kind of muggy.
They were muggy. They were kind of muggy and
cooler, but damp.
Damp and moldy. But it was until for us, we didn't have central air in our house until we didn't have central air at all in the house that we moved into when I was in high school. Every house I lived subsequent after the mid 1980s had central air. And it is imperative in those places that can get up to 100 to sometimes, because of the way they insulate the houses. The way the houses are insulated nowadays. People were a lot tougher then, and our hottest years were, but it's so hot down here. And I remember I had to convince my grandmother, my house when I lived in far northeast near the border of the city, to get a air conditioner. We put an air conditioner in her room so we could get it at night so she can go to sleep when it's 75 degrees. And she thought she didn't want it because it would make her sick.
Oh, right.
She was born in 1908. Mm-hmm. And the air conditioner was foreign to her. And we had air conditioning on our main level where the living room and the kitchen was. And it would always make I had a room in the basement. And if they had left that AC on, my room was a coldest in the house. I had a Greg Brady room. Did you watch the Brady Bunch at all?
Are you talking about with the curved ceilings and stuff? No, Greg. Oh, you were in the basement.
Well, I was in the basement. Greg Brady had an attic room.
I had a
basement room under the steps, but I figured. I looked at it and I said, I could put a bed under it. I could put my dresser right at the foot of the steps where the steps cut in and go down. And the rec room would be my living room. It's like the whole downstairs was my apartment. And there was a half bathroom down there so I can shave and do stuff. I'd just go upstairs and shower. There were 2 showers on the 3rd floor of the house. I was first floor basement, because it wasn't all the way underground because the sliding glass doors open to the backyard.
Oh,
so it was
so
kind of
that's
like
called
I
a
wasn't.
walkout.
Yes, it wasn't really like a basement. And the side of my room was underground, and
then
the
half.
doorway and one end of my room was the laundry room, and then the garage. So it's for a high school kid I say at that point we were middle class. We were middle class.
Okay.
Middle class. We weren't upper middle class. We weren't lower middle class. We were middle class. And that's when I go to sleep at night and I had to use a blanket. It wasn't until in the 90s, I think. Until the 1990s when I got out of, when I first moved into a place after the Navy, that my roommate would it would be July and the AC, I didn't know the setting could go to 66. I had to get a comforter out.
Yeah.
And it was 90 degrees at night. I had to put a comforter on. And then I'd build the bill, and when we get in these discussions, right? When someone you room with has an unusual requirement for something being cold and has to get it really low because they have high blood pressure, are you responsible paying half that bill? And I said, you know what? I'm perfectly fine with it at 75. 75 degrees.
Yeah.
9 degrees warmer. And I don't know what the breakdown, but I imagine that bill would have been half.
Yikes.
Because getting something 24 degrees cooler versus 14 or 15 degrees cooler, I would have been happy at 77, 76.
Right.
I could sleep fine. Make it dry. Well, as long as it's running when it's humid and it's running thing, it keeps the place dry. I'm fine. If you get it under 80 and it's dry, and when it's down here, this is the nuances of it. When you're up in a dry area, when it's 80 degrees and it's dry, it's great. And it's 85, it's great. 90, it's great when it's dry. Your fucking sweat wicks away from your body, evaporates. The natural cooling process, which I mentioned with the Egyptians with the straw mats over the windows.
Yeah.
But when it's humid, that when you sweat, that stays there. Humidity does not take it away from your body and just lays on your body like an insulator.
I can't think. I don't think I've ever been anywhere where it's been dry heat. Like I'm from Minneapolis,
Arizona?
and no, I've never lived there. I can't remember.
You've been in a place where it's here.
This is not dry heat.
No, but sometimes when the humidity drops, you feel it. There's not a significant drop. It could be like a 2 or 3 degree drop in temperature. But if the dry air comes in, let's say it comes in from the northwest.
Okay.
Let's say a wind comes in from the northwest and you feel that temperature drop, and it's not a temperature drop; it's a humidity drop, and that's just the temperature drops, and all of a sudden the sweat starts wicking away from your body. And we just seem to put up with it.
Well, I just kind of deal with it. But I'm from Minneapolis, and most people are like, "Oh, that's so cold up there." I mean, like 4 months out of the year, I will tell you, it's hot up there. It gets hotter up there sometimes than it does here.
Well, that's where it makes it harder for people because they never. I think you get acclimated to the extreme cold, and then it gets super hot, and you had a month and a half. I mean, I'm hearing places up there. 3 weeks ago, there was still snow. It was still snowing in upstate New York. 3 weeks ago.
Crazy.
4 weeks ago.
But then
guys
again,
are sending pictures. 3 weeks
lake,
ago.
you get that lake effect humidity, just like you get lake effect snow. And like Minnesota is like the land of 10,000 lakes. So of course, everything is stagnant water, just sitting there getting hot. And like, it's humid.
I'm just saying when it's bouncing between 40 to 50 degrees, your body doesn't have a chance to acclimate.
Right.
It's just like walking out from here into you can walk into, if you're working on our business, you go into a freezer. Holy shit.
Well, especially if you're sweaty. If you're sweaty and you walk
into a freezer. And you hold into it. No, it feels great. It feels great. But if you got locked in there, I imagine your survivability would be much less than a person that was, holding at like 50, 60 degrees.
Right.
If you're walking around 50, 60 degrees, you walk to a place that's real cold, you're feeling a 20 degree, 20, 30 degree drop.
Right.
You're going to be
Not
able to go and handle it. You know what I
100
mean? So,
degree drop.
you know?
Right.
Well,
I'm texting my mom and she's not answering me yet, but I was just like, I wanted to know when we first got AC because I think like we never had central AC.
The places up north, they didn't have to have central AC because you're thinking you only have to tough it out for 3 months.
Right.
And they go, we can do that. What we need is a good insulation and to be able to survive the cold.
Right.
Because the heat, though it can kill you, it's when you get. But they don't understand, like when it spikes up to 105 in a place like Chicago, in the cities and stuff like that, it's just impossible. At least here we're looking at the water.
Yeah. I mean, if I get too hot, I'll just go jump in it. Mm-hmm. Or I have a dock shower right there.
Yeah, if I burst into spontaneously come back.
Yes, I
have a place to run. Just like Boromir and Faramir's father in Lord of the Rings.
I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
It was in The Return of the King. When he set himself on fire.
Spontaneously combust, I will just shove you into the water and it'll be
You can't
fine.
do that. You're going to if I'm going to spontaneously combust, you'd already be dead.
I don't want to be covered in gym guts.
That was another note from.
But you're sitting behind the bar right now. I might be
it's from The Office, the show The Office, and Dwight Schrute had a letter, and people were reading the letter, and it's in case of emergency, in case something like this, please call so and so, and if you're reading this and I'm about to die, everyone in the office is already dead. So they don't know if it means he's going to kill him or anything like that.
Gosh.
It was great. Speaking of that, we were talking about that last quote. We were speculating in a previous episode. It was this is where because American history is big.
We talked about it.
It's not deep. American history is not deep. American history is less than 250 years. So when you consider the United States from the Declaration of Independence to the present day. But the history is big. American history is big, meaning big. It constitutes a lot of things spanning the globe, much like Britain over the last several years spanned the globe and had a lot of impact. There's a lot of smaller countries that are older, but we've had, in the last 100 years, it's one thing I'm very proud, we had a big effect on the world.
Yes, that's very
true. The
true.
U.S. has, and relatively quickly. Much like Rome, Greece, Britain. Am I missing someone? France? Spain, Portugal.
Yep.
Spain had a huge empire for a time. China, the ancient Chinese, the Mongol Empire.
Yeah.
The Mongol Empire was hundreds. The Persian, the shorter-lived Macedonian, the Greek. We have a big influential history. And one of the things is we were thinking about, it's a relatively short history if you think about it compared to these other countries called, but a lot of things happen. And the statement I made was a rising tide raises all ships.
Well,
and we thought it was from the Depression because it sounds like when anybody is, if you're a student of history, you think that sounds like something that would happen during the Depression, and then you want to pump up the economy, get everyone going. And actually, there were other regressions and depressions that occurred. And in the early 60s, there was a slowdown again because the rest of the world was catching up. And and Jenna brought to my attention, we thought it was Roosevelt.
We thought it was Roosevelt, and then we were questioning ourselves, and then I looked it up from the last episode, but it's actually the aphorism is a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yes.
And it was JFK that said it, and it was associated with the idea that an improved economy will benefit all participants.
Yes.
Right? So basically just, particularly the government economic policy, therefore focus on a broad economic efforts. But then after we were talking about that and I pointed out that it was JFK, then Jim had this great idea about talking about well, I said, hey, he was a good-looking guy. I mean, people thought
if you think of it, he was 42, 43 years old when he became president. He was young, vibrant. Previous to him, he came Eisenhower. Eisenhower was around his age, maybe maybe a little older during World War II. Around World War II, and he became president as an older man. And prior to him was Truman, who was no spring chicken, and then it was Roosevelt, who was debilitated through polio, and then you had Hoover, Coolidge, Harding. Oh man, I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm backing up through the ones, and Harding, and then maybe Wilson. No, Cleveland. I missed Cleveland in there. Cleveland, Wilson, Taft.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
Am I screwing up? Roosevelt?
No, I'm just laughing at my mom because I asked her about did we first get air conditioning, and was it before I was born? Because I was born in 76, and she just answered me back, and she said, "AC?" ?
What's AC?
Air conditioning.
Oh, she doesn't know what AC is?
And then she goes, "Oh, yeah, before you were born. When we first moved into the Washburn house, we had a new furnace and window units."
Window units,
and only in certain bedrooms.
Oh,
and then she's actually listening right now to a different podcast, a previous podcast that we just published, and she's listening to Male Enhancement, and she's crying laughing at
She
the
likes
moment.
it? Okay.
Yeah, she's loving your humor. She always does.
She does?
Yes, you know this about FG.
Okay, I
She loves
appreciate
her
it.
some Jim.
Thank you, Gloria. And we've never formally met yet, and we've never spoke to each other. We're going to figure out how to do the Skype talk, and maybe when I'm in what?
She says that she would shit anywhere, anytime for big money.
Big money. So see what I mean? She goes.
Right.
She has her eyes on the prize.
Right.
As in episode 179 that we were referring to. Do you poop enough? A infomercial. And we're talking about bashful poopers. And not that, actually it is a solitary event.
It really is.
It really is.
Oh,
but if you were paid big money. And the other thing, I meant the mistake, and I mentioned the Deer Hunter. We did the Deer Hunter in Apocalypse Now. The 200,000 seat stadium. Unless there's one in Qatar for the World Cup that's coming up in 2-3 years. I don't think there's a 200,000 seat stadium out there. That when I mentioned that in the just released or the 180, it's episode 180.
Yeah,
I just gave away half the 180.
I know.
Episode 180.
You gotta let them
We're talking about things that aren't even released yet. But then again, you're not going to know because you're not going to listen to this until after 180. So It's all right.
All right.
I can talk about it. now, and we're not hurting him. So we talked about the best looking president.
Best looking president. Okay,
so let's start with the founding fathers.
I have got
founding fathers. Jefferson was probably the hottest one.
Possibly if you're going back that far, but
Washington. He didn't have wooden teeth.
I have the top 10 best looking, according to Ranker. I have the top 10 best looking presidents.
Okay, wait.
In the history of time.
Who the fuck is that? Harding. Oh, that's Harding as a young man.
So Harding
doesn't count.
Right?
Well, hold on. Before you say anything, I'm going to give you my rank. Before you look at it.
Give me the rank.
Kennedy, Reagan, Jefferson, God. I don't know.
So you're going Kennedy one.
Lincoln, one of our greatest presidents, was not one of our best looking presidents.
He was not, but
Roosevelt, the younger Roosevelt. When I say the younger Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt was a handsome bugger with his glasses, very stylish.
Yes.
Teddy Roosevelt's up there. So I'm going to go with my big four are Kennedy, Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, and Reagan. Okay, what do you got?
Okay.
Let's hear the ranking. And then I'm going to talk about speculating future ones.
Okay, so top 10 according to Ranker. Number 10 is Warren Harding.
That's it.
He was the 29th president, and of course this was, it was
before he was president.
He was young. Now, number 9, Calvin Coolidge.
Silent Cal.
Calvin Coolidge.
Oh, he was a nice looking guy.
So in his younger years,
he looked like a total dickhead then.
He kind of looks like a douche, actually.
Who's that guy?
This number 8 is George W. Bush, even with his unibrow on Ranker.
You know
right?
what? He was, yeah, okay.
He looks like, you know who I think he looks like? I think he looks like Ted Bundy in that picture.
He does look like Ted Bundy.
Right, okay.
But he's a nice looking guy. He's a handsome guy.
So
Laura Bush is a nice looking woman.
Right. Number 7 was Richard Nixon.
Let's see him.
Richard
Holy
Nixon.
shit.
Right? Like
Nixon as a young guy?
Nixon as a young guy.
Okay, wait, let's see that picture again.
Yeah, right? I mean, this is not so bad. This is not too bad.
He looks like he looks like the guy, there's an actor named Nixon, who was in Office Space. You ever seen that movie, Office Space?
Oh, yeah, I have seen Office Space.
He looks like him.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He was also
Look at
in
him.
Band of Brothers.
Tony, let me see that picture again.
Okay, here we go. One more time. There you
Holy
go. So
shit.
Richard Nixon, he looks like
you
he was
fucked
like
up,
in wearing
buddy.
athletic gear.
He was a nice
something.
looking guy.
All right. So number 6 is George
The father.
H.W. Bush
He's
in his
ambassador.
younger years as
Okay.
well, and he's also wearing, I believe, like a collar. Oh
I
yeah,
forgot Obama.
he's wearing a Yale shirt.
I'm going to take Obama.
And then number 5 is Barack Obama.
Obama. See? I threw Obama in before.
Yeah,
Did I do it before I saw it?
You said it earlier when we.
I said it earlier. I
when
forgot
we
that.
were
Right.
off, when we were
Barack
not recording.
Obama is a handsome son of a bitch.
And then number 4
Teddy.
is Franklin Roosevelt. With
That's him younger.
Right?
He had his
They're all
baggy
younger.
eyes and
They're
stuff like
all
that. And
younger.
Teddy's going to be in there?
All right. And then number 3 they have is Ronald Reagan, of course, in his younger
Ronald
years.
Reagan's fucking actor.
You know, and it was big blue eyes. Yep. Good looking dude.
They were,
Number 2 is Rutherford B. Hayes, the 19th president,
this guy.
1877 to
let
18.
me see. They got some good pictures of him.
In office from
He died.
1877 to 1881. And it's a very old. It looks like a tin type.
Holy shit, that
But
guy's...
he's a good
He's
looking
got
dude.
a mulling kind of dark...
He
good
does.
look.
He's got like the real wide set like face. And then of course they have on their list as number 1 as JFK, who I just don't find that attractive.
JFK was the guy.
But you know what? He really needed to get some stuff under his eyes.
Yeah. Well, he was a drug addict.
Oh, is that why his eyes are poofy?
Yeah, he
What
was
was he
drug addict.
addicted to?
He'd get painkillers
Like what? Like
for
opioids?
Atchinson's disease. Achinson's disease.
What is that? What I don't know. What
Pain. It's like almost like fiber. Oh yeah. He was prescribed a lot of painkillers and stuff like that.
Yikes.
Kind of fucked him up. But I'm surprised Teddy Roosevelt had some style to him and stuff like that. He must have been charming as hell. Teddy Roosevelt was given a speech. Oh wait, got shot. And it wasn't life-threatening. It hit him in the body. Got shot. Assassination attempt.
Okay.
And gave a speech before seeking medical attention.
So he had like a bullet
In his body.
in his like
And
what
gave it-
torso?
It's like an upper body.
Oh my god! And it wasn't like near his heart. That's so crazy.
No, but you could Google that. It's true. He was shot, and he was among our toughest presidents. Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt.
A Republican, might I add. But you know what? It was virtually 100 years ago, and they were different then. And this Teddy Roosevelt wouldn't put up with the shit that's being put up with nowadays.
He was shot during a speech.
And
It said, yeah. So when Teddy Roosevelt was shot in 1912, a speech may have saved his life. It takes more than that to kill a bull moose.
Mm-hmm.
He reached into his coat pocket, pulled out a bullet-riddled 50-page speech, holding it up with prepared remarks, which he had 2 big holes blown through each page. So the speech that he had in his pocket is what saved him from the bullet penetrating his body.
But he didn't stop.
No.
Well, I don't know. I think it went into his skin.
It takes more than that to kill a bull moose. I think that's cool.
Oh, they had
What a
thicker paper. They probably had
badass.
thicker-
What a badass.
Oh, there's Tyler
It was
here.
a 50-page speech.
Must have been
And
using-
holding it up through his prepared remarks, which had 2 big holes blown through each
Oh.
page, he continued.
And you know what? Since we're in the Keys, George H.W. Bush used to go down to Chica Lodge.
Yeah, he was a big
President Obama
Yeah.
went up to Ocean Reef.
Yes. Well, there is a
And Joe
presidential
Biden,
estate
and Joe
in
Biden, and
Ocean
Joe
Reef.
Biden stayed in North Key Largo.
Yep.
Joe Biden likes Jimmy Carter comes down here regularly for Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, that's
he's
cool.
been in our Publix.
Oh,
Oh my God, I love that guy. I do. Listen, politics aside, you can't fucking hate Jimmy Carter.
I believe he was the president the year I was born.
No, politics aside,
so.
Whether he's a good man, if anybody want to say, I thought he was a good president, but everyone should agree Jimmy Carter is a good man.
Yeah.
Because that guy in his 90s is still putting houses up for,
now?
Oh yeah. He straps on the tool belt and does that thing. Yeah, still now. And he was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago. And he's still doing it. Oh yeah, Jimmy Carter's still out there doing it. Jimmy Carter's and still giving interviews and stuff like that. Okay, and then let's get back to the big guy for the keys. I'd like to say the big guy. So it's Truman, because the Southern White House is in Key West.
Oh, the Truman House, yes.
The Truman House, and it is a big thing. And Truman has a lot to do with the spunkiness of the Keys, because when Truman was originally, he was a vice president under Roosevelt. He filled out his term, and then
this is what we were talking about
when he was getting elected.
Yes,
the polls showed that his opponent would win, and a whole bunch of papers printed up. So Dewey was his opponent. So Dewey wins, and Truman holds up a picture of a newsprint when he wins the amount of electors that he needs to win, and it says Dewey wins, and Truman's the winner. And Truman was a guy, and his famous saying was, "The buck stops here." Taking responsibility for bad results or bad decisions. And Truman was a leader of character, much as George H.W. was of character.
Yes.
He did the assault weapon. He was a Republican that supported an assault weapon ban, which was not popular with the NRA, and he's being a Republican. And then you have Barack Obama, accused of whatever he was. I still think he was a great president, and Joe Biden was a great vice president. I'm sure there was other presidents that came down here. But those are the three big ones. We had other people like Ted Williams. We're going to move on to another great thing, and it's very patriotic. Jenna?
Yes.
I hear that you're a listener. You told me you were a listener and you're a follower of the U.S. women's soccer team.
Yeah, well, I've been watching it.
I've been watching them since the 90s.
Okay.
When they started dominating U.S. women's soccer. It's been such a dominant force in the women's, and you can say whether it's more competitive or not, U.S. women's soccer has been more competitive and has been at the top, and always has been since the 90s, considered a powerhouse. And here they come into the World Cup. They got such a deep team, and I'm not a soccer person, but they won against their first round against Thailand. And the previous record was by a blowout, was some other Germany versus some other team in 2006. It was 12-0. The U.S. did 13-0 against Thailand, and they were on the attack the whole time. Their credo is they never let up, and that's their thing. Whether they're behind or whether they're ahead, they don't want to dishonor their opponent. They don't want to dishonor their opponent by laying back and saying, like a kid, like you would against a kid, you just do what you can do. And I think if you're a valorous opponent, you would want that.
Right. Yeah, you don't want them to slow down and then put in all the fourth string people.
Of those women and the way they did it and the way they set themselves up and the way they charged down the field and the way they kept on going, pounding, and kept on attacking. They were relentless.
Right.
They were relentless, much like the European teams are when they play the U.S. men's. And the U.S. men's, I had to say, are a poor example of U.S. manhood. Well, it's just an example of the way it is.
In comparison to the women's team.
And compared to the women's team, the U.S. men, when they achieve mediocre success, they are lauded. And the U.S. women's team, and I may lose listeners for this, but the U.S. women's soccer team is championing a women's equality parity in pay. And there were some statistics I saw. And one of the statistics said, and they showed the pay charts for the U.S. women's team and the U.S. men's team. You got me one? If the U.S. men's team lost all their games in the process of the year, the players would get 200, and I'm going to go lower, 250,000. Lost all their games. For losing. If the U.S. women's team wins all their games, meaning all the way through, the maximum they can make is 99,000 with their bonus. 2.5 times less, and it could be as great as 3 times less. Now, that's the best achievement the U.S. women's and the worst achievement men. So you can imagine what it could be if the men achieved the same and the women. But the argument for the men and the soccer, U.S. women's soccer, is saying the men's soccer is more popular. But where they don't factor in is the followers in our country follow U.S. women's soccer so much more greatly, and they make so much more money from advertising, everything, sales, ticket sales and stuff. From a winning U.S. soccer, women's U.S. soccer team, it's so much more profitable to U.S. women's soccer, which is much more profitable than U.S. men's soccer because of the lack of success. And I'm not a traitor to my gender. It's just a fact.
Right.
If we were Brazil, if we were France, if we were Germany, and they were the men, yes. And you could scale it down to say if they generate 500 million in revenue, and then you could say you could justify that. But when the U.S. women's soccer team is generating more money, more revenue, and making 2.5 times less, then there is something wrong. And it brings to mind in 1979 and 1983 the expiration of the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment.
Yes.
Expired.
Yeah.
Because only 36 or 37 states passed because it was going to become a constitutional amendment. So they put in an amendment that guaranteed that gender would not be a basis for discrimination. I don't know if you're long, and once again, I'll repeat once again, if you're a long-time listener, I believe challenge and fortitude. If I'm challenged, I have to work harder if I want to achieve. If I'm working against a harder opponent, I have to be better. If I need to win or compare or be on the par or whatever you want to do, whatever field you're in, I have to work harder and achieve. I don't need a step up. I don't need an artificial pay scale.
Right.
So then
if I produce more,
their salaries off of the revenue that they produce and their wins.
Oh, Tyler, you're preaching to the choir.
But that's what
you're
I'm saying.
You're preaching to the choir.
You know?
That's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But they're talking, what they look at is men's soccer in general, worldwide, is more popular. The Men's World Cup. But when it comes to the U.S. audience and where we derive the income, where the income goes in to the organization that pays the salary, if they achieve more profit, that's exactly what you said, that it should be commensurate with the success.
Right.
And the failure of this company, we're a capitalist society,
organization.
country.
Yeah.
Company, country, whatever.
Yeah.
Our organization is when we're regressive, and that's regressive. If a man want to achieve, if you want to be superstars, if you want to make 250,000, and you don't get 250,000 by losing to Jamaica, and not that Jamaica's a subpar country. They're a country of about 10 million people, but we're a country of 350 million people. We should be able to field a soccer team that can stand up to Jamaica. And we lose to smaller countries. We don't make it up to Germany. We don't make it up to Mexico's level. We barely make it up to smaller country levels, and those countries achieve more. And we are a powerful country. And the American women will defeat China. They will defeat traditional soccer countries. They'll dominate them.
Yeah.
They're terrified of the American women. Much like and I'll say basketball achieves that level. Basketball achieves that.
What I was going to say is just over the last 2 days while we were traveling, we stopped at Buffalo Wild Wings twice. On the way out of town, on the way back into town. And both days they had women's soccer on there. And I will tell you, watching them compared to the men's soccer that I've watched in the past.
Those are tough girls.
Those women get down and dirty a lot more than our men do.
And they don't cry when they fall, and they charge downfield. They charge downfield hard. I saw those women. They're steely-eyed competitors, and they go and do it. And I swear to God, that's where I think the U.S. is getting it right. It's been getting it right with parity of men. We're working hard. Our population is working hard to do it. Our women in the military, much like I don't know if Israel did champion that originally, but they needed to because they didn't have the population. But the U.S. is getting it. Women in the military, they achieve it. Our first commander of an infantry division was this week a woman. An Army infantry division. The first commander of a division was appointed, a former Black Hawk helicopter pilot was appointed today. And if you can achieve this is where I'm defeating my argument. If they are fighting against injustice and being set back further and achieving, then maybe these things like when black people end up going to Oxford, when African Americans, despite not being chosen at the same rate, that makes them stronger. So thinking that privilege kills incentives and does not make you stronger, makes you weaker. A resistance, much like resistance training, where I'm coming in a way, being able to work hard is a quality that allows you to achieve. And America, and we are great because of things like the American women's soccer team, the U.S. United States soccer team, the armed forces that we have that always. And I dispel the rumors that we lost Vietnam. We did not lose Vietnam. We went around the world. We were fighting in a country. We necessarily, I don't think we should have been fighting in. We fight in a war we're sure to be lost because the only way to win a fight like that is obliterating the population.
Oh my God!
Because you're always going to do. But we won almost every war we fought in. We won. We've lasted. We've fought at disadvantages in 1812, American Revolution. We survived a civil war. We went over and helped out in World War I. We tipped the balance in World War II. We survived in the Korean War. We went and tried to preserve the French Empire in Vietnam, which I thought was a mistake, but the men that served and the women that served are heroes. And whenever we had to address any terrorist attacks, we went over and kicked butt. And we will, when we do persevere, when we do that, we do win out.
Well, and that's, to me, I'm not a huge history buff. I follow very little of our past, which I wish I did more. But in my aspect as a 90s generation, when I look at what the United States is, yes, are there wars that we're fighting that we shouldn't be in? I'm sure. But that's what makes America, America. And this is why we are who we are, is because no matter whose war it is, whose fight it is, we try and help out and we move on to help other
We
countries.
try to pick the right side.
We try and make
to pick the right side.
Everybody's life a little bit better.
I'm just going to jump off topic for a second because you corrected yourself with the whole deer hunter versus apocalypse now thing. And when we were talking about pooping on episode 180, which my mother is listening to now.
Are we supposed to poop every time we eat?
No, I said something about a diuretic. Like a diuretic would
it's for urine, no, isn't it?
Yes, and that's what Mom just said. She was like, "You're an ass." She called me an ass, and she said that a diuretic is a substance that promotes diuresis, which is increased production of urine, and it helps your body lose
Fluid levels.
Fluids. So I am sorry, a diuretic. I thought a diuretic was something that would promote diarrhea.
You know, on that note,
Because it
I think I
sounds
got to go
so
and urinate.
similar.
Can I go over and urinate in the canal on the?
So, Mom, I am
I?
sorry. I have been corrected.
My neighbors don't care.
You could, yes, you
I
can
pee
pee
off
off.
the
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do
well,
it.
Sean does
I
it
just
all the
wanted to
time.
see if I can ask and do it. I'm not going to do it.
Sean,
You
the
know
neighbor
why I
guy,
won't
Sean
do
does
it?
it all the time.
You know why I won't do it? Not out of respect for your neighbors. Answer.
Because he doesn't want it to drop in the water.
No. Out of respect for you. Out of respect for you.
You don't want to get salt water on your weenie?
Not respecting your neighbors, respecting you.
I pee off my dog all the time.
I know, but that's
My
your
neighbor
choice.
comes over and hangs out and pees off my dog.
He does. He does.
That's your choice. It's out of respect for you. It's out of
If you
respect for
gotta
you.
piss off my dog,
I
piss
know,
off my
no,
dog.
but when I'm over someone's house and you see how quickly we turn from the thing.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
made my thing. It's perfect.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it.
America.
America.
All right,
I could
also-
definitely poop off the dock.
I'm
definitely poo over
also
the dock.
supposed to let you know
What?
that her cat, my mother's cat, his name is Bob.
Robert
Oh, she
McFeeline.
listened to it. So she.
Bobcat. Well, his formal name is Robert McFeeline,
Yeah.
but she calls him Bobcat. He is snuggled up to her phone, and he
he
can't
is
even
now
because
a
he
listener.
loves Jim, the Keys bartender. So, Mom's cat Bob is an avid listener,
Pussy loves me, man.
and I'm just saying,
I had to say it.
he's a guy.
Oh my God, it was perfect.
He's a guy cat, and
Oh,
he's a Maine
I would-
Coon,
yeah.
but he's still a cat. So I'm
well,
thinking,
okay,
you
so
know,
what?
there you go.
Sausage and tacos, man. It doesn't matter. We're trying to attract all different demographics.
You know what I should do on my next batch of
What?
business cards?
What?
Is put our
This is Tyler
Keys
Kelly.
bartender on there as well.
Sure,
For
yeah,
promotion.
whenever you want. Oh, I did mention to my friend Dan Cornell. We're gonna wrap this one. We were talking about the cash tiki.
Cash Tiki.
He liked it. Yeah, it's like cash cab.
Okay.
We will take them out to a specific destination, give them a free ride. But if they don't get all the questions right,
They get stranded.
they get dumped off the tiki. It's a tiki floating bar with a motor.
Oh, we know about this.
Is this the one out of Snooks?
There's more than one. He has about 4 right now. He may have more.
Well, he was supposed to have 3, and I was supposed to work for him.
That's all right.
We don't.
That's all right.
We
It's
can
not
just
part
leave
of
that there.
Hey, we're bigger than that. It doesn't matter. So, but I'm thinking instead of, and I was thinking about doing a Crocodile Lake, that would add a note of interesting suspense. Listeners, Crocodile Lake is called Crocodile Lake for a reason. Because it's a spawning ground for American crocodiles. And it should have a lot of them there. So it should provide a lot of incentive for people to answer. But I don't think I'm going to do it from there. And I think maybe we could put a sad dinghy, like a 2 to 3 person dinghy behind and drag it and give them the water where we drink champagne and beer on the tiki bar while we're doing it. And I'll make it more of a, I still
So
haven't
it's
gotten,
kinda
I
like
still
a
haven't had
Survivor
a,
thing in a way where
I haven't had a response from Ben Bailey, but I don't think Ben Bailey needs to respond. I got to contact his production company. Ben Bailey's the host of Cash Cab.
Yeah.
He's a follower of ours. On
Remind me again. What number
Twitter.
are we on? We're on 184.
4.
Okay.
I think 184.
Mom
I'm
is
pretty sure.
mom and Bobcat are binge listening right now, and she's blowing up my
Okay.
phone. So I'm just making sure.
No, but 180 will be coming up, and then next week
She's
we'll have
listening to 180 right now, so 180 is released.
182. We have until
And
we
thank
get big
you.
enough. If we get big enough, we'll have a sound guy with us all the time.
Okay.
The only way to get big enough in it is for me to probably stay on topic. Number 2 is to have more listeners and more reviews. We currently have 14 reviews, which I'm surprised on iTunes, which is good.
iTunes. We have
We
iHeartRadio.
get 25 to 30. The next tier on that, I'd like to get 25 to 30. Yesterday, if it's anecdotal, if the company we're working with, it seems like we had an additional a 50 to 60% bump in listenership in just the one episode. They haven't started with the media, social media yet, but they seem adept at handling sound and putting it up on the sites, and we're hoping that the cross thing will increase listenership. That is, we still believe it's our job to provide a quality podcast, even though we are partaking. I'm partaking. We are partaking. That's it.
Mom has a good idea for
Heroin?
the next
Heroin use?
episode. She wants to talk about waxing patterns. Different patterns for you to wax your parts. We can talk about that maybe next time.
Do you think I should get my private parts waxed?
Well, she says she wants to talk about Brazilian racetracks, for example. And I did see about the salon.
I would consider getting a.
There is a salon out there, for men.
Well, there's a little video coming on Facebook.
Yes,
one. You saw
and the
that
manscaping one, and the guy would take
That-
selfies next to the junk and show off his. So
I was not impressed.
No, and
I didn't think it was expert.
back to our reviews and listeners and all that stuff. So since I'm a new company up and coming,
Yes,
you know,
you can say whatever you want.
if there are other people or our listeners that are expecting or wanting to travel down here to the Keys, if you're an avid listener and you reach out to me, we could give percentages off.
We would ask you to address our partner.
Yes.
43 Keys Media. 43 Keys Media. We'll go through them.
Yeah.
Because they'll come up with it. This way we won't have to negotiate. And we don't have to be the bad guys. And they're not saying the 43 Keys Media is the bad guys.
No.
But they're the company that's handling that, and that's why we're doing it. And we give them a chance. They do put a lot of work in this show. They can do it, and they can figure out how to do it. We'll get the numbers for them, the contact. If you want to get a sponsorship, and you right now you do have an opportune time. If you do want to get in, if you are a company, if you want to reach, we do not just have only about 40% of our listeners in the Keys. The rest are in the United States and around the world. So if you're a national brand or international brand, you may want to try to get in on the ground level. Now would be the time.
Yes,
now would
absolutely.
be the time. If you don't feel that, we're not like a local radio station. It would be good, actually, people listen for local companies to get in here, because people that have an affinity and do a search will get Florida Keys bartender. Like I said, we were talking about it. Their search is Florida Keys bartender. We're the Keys bartender. It's always going to be Keys bartender. But if you do a search of the Florida Keys, we'll be in there under Florida Keys bartender. So then you'll have an opportunity to feature your services or your products here. And then there's plenty of great companies down here.
Right. And we can give you some live plugs, and we can take care of your business.
Be happy to plug you.
Absolutely.
again,
we're happy to plug you.
And
My
know all
aspect
the
is if
ways
you're
you
planning
will
on a
need to be
trip down
plugged.
here,
What?
and you can prove
I just
that
mumbled
you
it.
left us a review on any of our hubs,
Yeah.
then on our charters, we would be willing to give you a discounted rate.
Well, I think you can offer that if you
There
want.
you go.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
What kind of discount are you talking about?
15-20% more than our
15-20%.
locals get down here. If you're an avid listener and you come down here on vacation on a half day, full day, see the Keys kind of charter, the boat's all yours with you and your family. We give you a discount for showing us that you actually are a listener and you have left us a review.
Okay. And the first couple, let's say, if you ever honor the first two,
50%.
no, I'll go on the cruise with them. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
I'll go on the cruise with them. You offer the same deal you're doing.
Absolutely. Then
I'll
Jen
go
will
on the
go
cruise with them,
you.
and we'll do
Maybe all three
we'll
of us.
do
can do a
we'll do a
floating podcast.
We'll do a floating
Yeah.
podcast.
Absolutely.
We'll include you if you want to do it. But we will probably that offer. We're not. We're moving ahead.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet.
We're moving.
but-
We're moving ahead, and we know we're going to be there eventually. So if you want to jump on that wagon, get on there now. A little later, it could be kind of crowded, and I
Might be a little
apologize. I
crowded.
do appreciate everyone listening. We do have a Patreon page, but I'm not worrying about that. We're going to try to raise all our money through advertising. Some people eschew advertising and go through Patreon. I'm not. I'm trying to expand the listenership where we use advertising to drive listenership, not patronage. Patreon is great for, especially for. I think it's fabulous, especially for these specialty podcasts. And I have my favorite ones. I got the Heebie Jeebie Babes. I have the science fiction film podcast. I have the motivation podcast with my friend in England. And there's a couple other ones. There's wonderful true crime one out of England that's good, and there's a bunch of other ones. And we will we're not going to do a lot of partnerships with these podcasts. I apologize for that because we do have a media company now. So we may do ones locally, and we may do other ones depending on what it does work out for us. But I'm not being selfish. We're just trying to grow our listenership. We're trying to give the people what they want if they want.
And still, a review would be nice.
Yeah, a review would be nice.
Yes.
And
no matter your medium.
We strive on reviews.
yeah, and we promise, even though we know where we could put bodies, we won't put your body
And
near anybody else's body.
I don't know
Right.
if we've said
Is that
this
right?
before.
Wait, did I say it right?
Yeah, that's right.
The hand that comes from the grave to strangle you. That's a Dwight Schrute comment. The hand that comes.
And again, I don't know if we've ever said this or if we've said it multiple times, but if you leave us a review and you have any ideas or forecast on a future topic,
Don't leave it on the review. Don't leave it on a review. Send it in an email to the Keys bartender
You're
or
not
the
reading
Florida
our
Keys.
reviews?
I read them, but I don't necessarily see. There's so many websites. I think the media company will help us do that. But there's so many platforms that we're presented on. It's hard for me to access them all the time. And I'm not saying it's hard for me to access them because I don't have available time to access them. I don't have the ability to do it. When it comes to technology, I'm like a monkey fucking football.
I mean, you could, if you want to go on to Spreaker or iHeartRadio and then just imagine picturing Jim
iTunes, or picture me as a blow up doll.
as a monkey humping a football, then yeah.
I'm more
We
of
should make a meme for that.
I'll be a large monkey.
You are a very large monkey.
I wouldn't be a gorilla
You're
exactly because gorillas get up to 500 pounds.
But you would be more like a chimpanzee,
A very tall.
like a really tall chimpanzee,
I'd be like Caesar.
right?
and muscular.
Caesar. I'm not like humongous from
No, but,
humongous.
your classes are taken.
Go. Wait, a warrior of the wasteland. Surrender, leave.
You who want to look like me, go to spin class.
No. No, you know what? I'm not.
place?
I don't post pictures of myself on Facebook. I don't do the posing pictures.
Maybe we should.
No,
Maybe
I
we should
don't.
put some Jim posing.
You know what's
pictures.
funny? I can't do it because when I was younger, I was thin and I was self-conscious. And then when I got muscular and big, I don't want to do it because that seems needy. I just want to be me.
What if people want to see what you look like?
I got to show some pictures.
What if we do
mean,
a calendar shoot?
How about some dick pics? You want some dick pics?
That got off
I'll
topic.
send it out to guys and girls. Adults only. They say that adults only.
Adults only.
Oh, that makes it better, doesn't
all
it?
these-
Adults only.
All the companies, everyone, they do a calendar shoot.
We could do a calendar shoot. We could make like your June
bartender
calendar just
calendar
be
shoot.
super sweaty.
Oh, the cowboy,
Especially
the fireman,
Since we just talked about how fucking Africa hot it was right now.
the bartender with the suspenders.
Yep.
Yeah,
We could have one where you're humping a football.
Idea.
Oh, the football.
Ideas.
Oh, wow, I can't believe I'm thinking about that.
Right? Yeah, we might have to do
Oh, my
Keys,
God, this is
the Keys
We could do
bartender
it for,
calendar
like,
shoot.
kind of each episode. So, like, our walking jacker, we could just like put fake dicks on. and
Oh
walk
my
down
God!
the
I can be
street,
walking down the
acting
street,
like
walking down the street with the. I'm gonna have to use two hands, so. I'm sorry. No, just kidding.
That's where your pants fall down.
Yep.
AKA
I did have that,
walking
when my pants falling down, right? No, because I was watching my weight. No, it was my. My wife was saying I was losing so much weight, it's falling, but it's actually the Velcro on the pants get old.
Because he has Velcro on his pants.
No, they got
Guys, there's Velcro
They
on
got
his
Velcro.
pants.
You know what I'm talking about? These fishing pants, these shorts. Yeah.
No idea.
David,
Well, they got shorts, okay, where you can
I
cinch
wear
them
quick
in.
dry shorts. They cost a lot of money, but they're.
I
the
wear a
best
quick
shorts
dry
in the world.
too. I wear quick, but they have these Velcro so you can tighten them in, especially with fit levels. I need bigger thighs and smaller waist. My waist.
Trying to show off the muscles.
I'm not trying to show my waist. I need bigger thighs.
I'm just
because I don't like my pants being.
Hey Jim, how much do you squat?
I don't squat. I don't squat.
No?
I don't squat.
No.
Imagine it'd be about 400 pounds.
So, yeah, he needs tight thighs so he can show off the muscles.
No. I do
Okay.
endurance. I'm more endurance.
I'm just
endurance.
going to tease you.
endurance.
Perfectly.
Endurance and power. Endurance and
I'm
power.
just going to tease you a little bit about the Velcro thing, though.
No, the Velcro actually works. It's great. It's fine. No, you don't need extra gap. In
Hey,
your, in
it's
your,
fine until it's on your shoes. That's all I'm worried about, Jimmy. That's all I'm worried about.
No, it's not. Okay, I understand. I'm thinking about what you're saying.
Can you tie bunny ears still?
I could do a one-eared elephant.
Okay. So, yeah, you
And
don't need
one ear
Velcro
back.
yet on your shoes.
He's all right. He's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Oh my God, we're at 1 hour.
All right.
This is
We
great.
went over.
We did it great.
If you would like to see pictures of Jim with his Velcro shoes, let us know.
I need that. I don't have Velcro shoes.
We'll add that.
I know.
calendar picture.
You know, it could be like a
I
December
don't have Velcro
picture.
shoes. I don't have Velcro shoes.
He could pose.
I
it to
did
the
have a
Christmas
problem
tree.
at one time. I told you when I started my journey losing weight, I had a problem. Part of it was being older, and the second was having a belly. And leaning over to tie your shoes was much like folding a bowling ball. It was impossible. You're reaching down. And now I can squat down, do it, boom, boom. I mean, I feel really comfortable doing it. I don't have lower back pains and stuff like that, losing a couple pounds. I feel lean and stuff like that. And I didn't do a lot.
And now he
Obviously, listen to my drinking patterns. I'm not that strict. I don't have, look at it.
he bends over comfortably.
You're like Maggie Simpson, right?
He bends over comfortably
Yes.
to tighten his Velcro shoe.
No,
wish
you know
I
what?
could.
And I work with a guy. I work with Jerry. I work with young, good-looking guys. And they hired another good-looking Jerry, the busboy, the good-looking Mexican busboy.
I don't know. I haven't seen him.
Jerry at night.
We
don't go there at night.
How often do you
Okay,
see us there
Jerry.
at night?
Okay, Jerry works there. He's a nice-looking guy. He brought his cousin in, and Jerry's 24, right? Mm-hmm. And he brought his cousin in who's 23. His name's Giovanni. And he looks exactly. Jerry is this buff thing. He's around 5'9", 5'10". Can carry a keg on his shoulder.
Make me feel even worse now.
I know. And Giovanni, his better-looking cousin, comes into work. And now you just see I'm moving down the fucking ranks. I'm not only 30 years older. I'm not the most fit. Because I had the other Mexican.
You do
I had the other
well.
Jim,
Mexican.
you're more fit than I am, and I'm at 28.
I know, but when they're 23,
Good God.
you don't realize how quick you could get into shape, though. I could get you into shape real quick.
I need to start.
You need to go to spin class.
got it.
Hey, I bought a bike the other day.
I could get you. Come down. I'll pick you up and take you to class with me. I'll get you on the road to wellness. I'll tell you that.
Do I have to cut back on my drinking?
Nope. Look at
Awesome.
me.
Let's go. I'm sold. You sold me already. Let's go.
All right, guys. I think we
my
are.
trip. The liver beating workout, exercise, gym, the bartender, drink and spin. There you go.
Ooh.
A non-endorsed exercise regimen.
I don't think they would let us drink while we spin there, though.
No, not at Mariners Hospital, not at Baptist.
Damn it.
No, they won't.
Can we borrow their bicycles?
No, we can do it. We can do it at a alternative site, though. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to see if they can allow us to do it.
I mean,
But-
how about this? After every mile you complete, you get a shot.
A shot.
You know?
Mile. You know how many miles we do during an hour class?
No.
About 18.
That's
God,
18
you're going to
shots.
kill me the first day I show up
your liver.
there.
You're going to be in awesome shape. They go, oh my God, this guy's in awesome shape, but his liver's gone.
Dude, I bought my brand new
5
bicycle.
times.
I rode to Riva and back, and I was about half dead because I went up a slight hill.
Did I tell you what I used to do when I first moved down here? I lived on Madrid, which is right around the Circle K. And I got down here, was getting my head straight, and I would ride down the lower Matacumbi on a bike, and had a mountain bike, a hybrid mountain bike, and you ride down. It wasn't a road bike, but I rode it just for exercise. I was able to do whatever that was, 70 miles?
Well, to Lower Matt from here is
77. Mile marker
30
70.
miles.
There and back.
30 miles.
30 miles, 82.
30 miles.
72. Okay.
And then, yeah.
60. 60
Right.
miles.
Yep.
Do 60 miles in about 5 hours, and then go to an AA meeting in Almirada.
Papa Joe bought a bike the same day I did. 7-speed. Mine's probably 12, 14. He drove to 106, or rode his bike to 106 and back. 8 miles, I think it was.
Yeah.
Well, we're at 103.
Yeah,
So
so-
6 miles.
8 miles pretty much round trip. And I'm like, how the fuck did you do that?
Well, I mean,
I
I
can't
was
do that
younger.
nowadays.
I was 45 when I did it.
Papa Joe compared to me, 28.
I know. I'm 45.
Yeah.
I was 45 when I did it.
Yeah.
And now it's been a struggle. Now next year I'm actually considering we're doing a long episode. Let's go.
We really are.
I got to get rid of the
We're going to do, I think I'm going to do the whole Keys race. And I think I'm going to do it at one shot. The 100 miles.
You're crazy.
I could be. But I'll train. I'll do it a couple times.
How about this woman that's ran from, I think, Mass all the way to Key West? Mm-hmm. She's on her last final leg right now.
She's doing it for opiate addiction awareness because she's had too many family members.
Oh, I'm against it. What are you talking? She's doing it for it?
For opiate addiction awareness.
Oh, good.
Because she's had too many
It's
family
just like the
members
cancer thing. When someone
die.
comes up and says you're doing it for cancer, and I go, I'm joking.
Nah.
I'm not fucking against cancer. That's my response when someone says, we're doing it for cancer. I say, you're an asshole. Because cancer's bad.
Awareness.
Okay? And they look at me like,
It's like, but you can't say those
I'm an
words out
asshole.
loud, like, because it's like cancer. It's
Cancer.
a bad word. You have to
I'm
whisper.
doing it for
the
ass
word.
cancer.
I'm doing it for ass cancer.
But no, next year, I'm going to make a bold statement right now.
Let's hear it.
I'm going to do the whole
gonna be
ride.
on
I'm going to do
air.
the whole ride. I'm hoping if they let me that they let me do the whole ride by myself. I know there's people that run the whole way. That run
Yeah.
the 100 miles. I'm going to bike the 100. I think it's 100 miles, 102 miles.
Yeah.
102 miles. I'll bike the 102 miles, and then we'll do a show from Key West, and I'll try to time it, and I'll talk to 43 Keys Media, and we'll try to do a show and get everyone down there. And maybe you'll be in the van, and I'll stop, and we'll talk, and maybe I can clip on and do.
Where are we going to be in a van? Where are we getting the
You're
van?
gonna follow me.
We gotta get a van.
I'll get a van. We'll get a
I
sponsor.
got a truck.
No,
My
we get
truck's
no. Wait.
got the 120
just-
outlet in it.
No, one of our.
I'm just
I
teasing
mean,
him.
if next year we're still on the air, we'll have a fucking sponsor, and you'll be in there, and you guys, we'll have a driver, and you guys will do the sound, and you're gonna, and we'll probably figure out how we can get it connected.
Hey, but I thought you were going to get me into shape. I might do it with you.
Okay, well then
I can't make a statement for you.
I gotta ride.
Can I make a
gotta
statement
ride
for
in the
you?
van.
Sure.
Tyler and I are going to do 100 miles all the way in Key West.
All right,
in
so
one
what
lap.
time are your spin classes? I have to be at work early in the morning.
Not that early, I guess. My earliest one's 9.
I could push my entry time in back.
9. Sunday. Tomorrow I do one at 6:30
a.m.?
p.m.
Oh, I was going to say,
I'm
I don't
filling
wake
in.
up that
I'm
early.
going to try pick up. I'm going to pick up another class, and hopefully, let's get more listeners and stuff like that. I could do more spin classes. I'm still always going to bartend, but I may cut back on some of the bartending, so I could do more shows. I mean, get like 3-4 shows a week, and and you can see what a lot of drinking and exercise gets you.
Yeah.
There you go.
See what happens, and you follow us a little longer. You'll see if it actually has your longevity, or it
Follow Tyler's
gets
new
me to
process.
yes. Let's see. Yeah, see if Tyler gets crushed by the 56-year-old man. Oh, you're half my age.
Without already a doubt.
You're half my age.
I turned 29 at the end of this month.
Okay, you're about half my age. You're about half my age. That's still because I'm 58. But once it gets sad when I'm 70.
Yeah, but you could kick my ass right now riding a
No.
bike. That
But it's
kind of shit.
still in my prime. It's sad when it's 70. You're still young. You got a lot of it.
Yeah, I need to start now.
You
if
got. I
wanted
started
to do anything.
No, not true. Not true. I didn't start working out until I was 38.
You know-
38, 39.
I need to start
doing
FG,
it, consume. What?
FG is 71. And she's still kicking it. and she could probably kick half
No,
of our
when you
asses.
started,
She could kick my ass.
I'm talking about when you started, and you can always start it if you don't have a major disability. You can always start it. We started signing off about 20 minutes ago.
I know, we really did. It went
Here's
for
the
a
thing,
really long time.
is I went up there. We spent a day walking around an iron ore ship up there, and FG was with us.
Yes.
I may have had to push her up a couple flights of stairs, but this woman was giving me a run for my money inside this iron ore ship. I had to keep up with her and make sure she kept going, even though she was like, hey, are you keeping up? I'm like,
Mom's
It's iron ore. What are you talking about?
An iron ore ship.
Iron ore ship? What's that?
Iron ore.
one of the
Oh, you were
transport
taking
ships.
a tour
Yes.
of an iron ore
Of
ship.
an
name on it?
iron ore ship. That would be, oh goodness.
What's the Edmund
Irvin-
Fitzgerald and iron ore ship?
What's that?
What's the Edmund Fitzgerald?
Yes, the Edmund Fitzgerald was an
Was an
iron ore ship,
ship.
and this was the Irving. Oh, well, gosh, something Irving.
Irvin.
Earl.
Oh, well,
Something
I
Irvin
did I ever
ship.
tell
Anyway,
you,
I
like
don't
on New Year's Eve, a buddy of mine would just read the lyrics to the wreck of the Edmund
William
Fitzgerald.
P. Irvin.
Okay. Listen, we got it. Oh, my God.
We
Oh,
really have
gotta
to sign off.
Guys, thank you very much.
We're just
Okay,
gonna
thank
keep
you very much.
ranting and raving. Leave us reviews.
Leave a
Leave us
review
reviews.
for us. Wait, let's hit.
Jim,
can you
hit
do
the button.
Can you do the sound for the hypnosis?
It's a.
Wah, 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 wah. Review for us. Our rating. 5-5. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
Thank you.
This is Julie.
Hey, calendar, what's my morning like?
Julie's about to have a long day.
At 9 a.m., soccer carpool. 9:10, purchase birthday card. 9:05, dry cleaning.
Did you just go backwards?
I'm sorry, I can't fit that question into your schedule. 9:15, cry for a little bit.
For days that won't end, let Schwann's help. With Schwann's, you can get delicious meals that go from freezer to table in minutes, not hours. Ordered, delivered, done. That's homemade easy. Visit today at schwanns.com. This is Julie.
Hey, calendar, what's my morning like?
Julie's about to have a long day.
At 9 a.m., soccer carpool. 9:10, purchase birthday card. 9:05, dry cleaning.
Did you just go backwards?
I'm sorry, I can't fit that question into your schedule. 9:15, cry for a little bit.
For days that won't end, let Schwann's